Hey everybody, Angela here. Welcome today to our live. We're going to talk about relationships today. I'm going to give you my top tip when you are looking for the one. First of all, if you are not familiar with who I am, if you're new to me, I'd love to introduce myself. My name is Angela Williams. I am a life coach for women. I've had over 11 years in the field of being a social worker, a therapist, a coach, a speaker, a trainer, all these different things, adjunct professor, and have lots of fun really supporting people, helping them on their own journey to self-development, self-improvement, healing, and growing. And now my focus is really narrowed down to helping women just be feeling empowered about their life, knowing they don't have to settle, knowing that, if they're working so hard, they don't have to really be living this life of stress and self-doubt and overwhelm and all of those things. I've been there. I've created my own system to figure out how to get beyond that, and I share that with women. So if you are new, again, welcome. And for those of you who see me on these lives, my goal is to always come here weekly and share with you tips that I love to share with all of my clients when I'm working with them. And we talk about topics like defining your big dreams and goals, understanding the limitations and roadblocks that might be holding you back, really understanding yourself and loving yourself, right? That's so important. How to protect your energy, put up boundaries, how to find these quality relationships that are going to help you just up level in so many ways. These are the things that we're talking about on a weekly basis. So I invite you to come and continue to watch and interact with me, as well as participate in the Facebook group Women Building a Bigger, Braver Life. So feel free to join us there, and I will have these videos plus more, guest speakers, all of those great things in that group. So please come hang out. It'll be a great time. All right, so today I want to give you my top tips. Let's just get right into it. So I think when we're dating, and I want to just say, I work with a lot of women who are in different points of their lives as it comes to talking about relationships, specifically romantic relationships. So this whole month is focused on relationships. Last week we talked about our relationships with other people, our friends, our family, and this week it's more focused on that romantic partner, that romantic relationship. And when I talk to women about this, there's a lot of commonalities in, maybe some of the struggles that they're facing. Maybe it's self-doubt, right, within themselves. And so therefore they're not, putting out that expectation toward their partner or the people that they're dating. And so they get disappointed and frustrated because this person's not living up to what they expect out of a relationship. But they may be too afraid to claim it or not feel like they're worthy to claim it. So that's kind of one of the biggest issues. And I just want to say, again, we can find ourselves in all different points in our relationships. Hey, Melissa, thanks for joining today. Talking about relationships, I'd love to hear your comments as well. So, I find clients are coming in all these different times and spaces in their romantic relationships, and that can be, they're dating, they're still trying to find a person that even if they want to be serious with, or they've been in a serious relationship, they've kind of broken that off, and now they're in a place of oh my God, what do I do? I have to find myself again, I have to date again, right? And that could be super daunting and really stressful and painful, obviously, right? For so many reasons. And so, anyways, there's all different types, or women who are in really great relationships and really just want to continue to grow that. Or again, if they're in a committed relationship, but things are not really measuring up and not really sure how to put in those boundaries or communicate, more freely with their partner. So anyways, I'm supporting women in all those different areas. And I just want to remind folks that when we're in a relationship, and especially dating, it's like an experiment, right? We have to learn about all the different elements that are coming into play there. So the thing that we can have the most responsibility for up front, so if you're not even in a relationship right now, is taking that responsibility to completely and truly understand yourself and prepare yourself for a relationship, a serious relationship that you're looking for. And I'm going to get to that in just a second of how to do that logistically, but that is something that I want to encourage folks to do. So I'm wondering, when you are thinking about your relationship or a future committed relationship, where is your thoughts about, self-development. What role does your own self-development play in creating this relationship? So I will just say I'm not perfect. I've had so many learning opportunities, if you will. And so I found throughout my life, the people that I dated almost reflected my, I would say, self-confidence, reflected my, maybe the growth or lack thereof, my maturity level, right? So there was a lot of different pieces where I can look back and say, wow, the person that I dated really was a reflection of what I was going through in that time of my life. And so I'm interested to know how many people agree with that. If you can kind of look back at your dating history, do you feel that that's a reflection? And are you improving? Do you feel like you're improving? Do you feel like you're repeating the same cycles? And that's another thing I talk to my clients about too, is what are the cycles? What are the patterns that you're noticing? And how do we find those maybe limiting beliefs or those patterns that we're used to, and how do we make those tweaks so that we don't have to repeat that over and over? I know for my past relationships, I really wasn't as, let me say, committed to my personal development, but I was really focused on what that person brought to the table looking back. And, I think, again, learning about how I interact with people too and how they interact with me, I became very consistent and clear about those expectations for the other person, but I missed that kind of element of where my growth came into play there. So here we go. We have a delivery truck. Finley's going to let us know about it just a second here. Here he comes, here. So anyways, I want to just share that, some top tips that I give my clients is to get very, very, first of all, aware and clear about what you want, what you're looking for. So I think a lot of times we just go out, we meet people, we're like, all right, we kind of have an idea what we want, but it's not, maybe completely well thought out. Finley's very talkative today. I don't know if you can hear him. But, it's not as thought out or in depth as one may want it to be, okay? So what I encourage you to do is get very clear and intentional about what you're looking for. Are you looking for a long-term relationship? Are you looking for companionship? Are you looking for friendship? Are you looking for this romantic relationship? What does that look like to you? And what are the qualities? So the very first thing I want you to do is make a list of what you want in a partner, and then another list about what you want in a relationship. So this is what I did. This was actually a little bit before I started dating my husband. And shout out to my husband, by the way. He's awesome. I love him so much. We've grown and learned and just been through so many things. And he's so, so cool. Like, I freaking love him so much. Anyways, so just before I started dating my husband, I was kind of seeing that I was in these relationships that I was like super emotionally involved in, but they weren't hitting the mark of all the things that I would hope for in a relationship. And so breaking up was still hard, even though I knew this isn't working for either of us, right? But like the emotional roller coaster or toll it took on me, because I'm a very, empathetic and sensing and deeply feeling person, right? So it's like, oh, that was like so painful to go through, right? So I sat down and I said, okay, I'm going to be very clear and intentional about what I want in this partner. And I made a list, and I don't unfortunately have a date on it. I still have the list to this day. But I made a list of everything I wanted in a partner, and it's actually really, really funny. My husband meets all of these criteria. There's one criteria in here that I'm laughing about, and it was be willing to keep an open mind and talk about things even if you don't like it, not an immediate no. So the funny thing about that is that is totally my husband. He's willing to talk about things, but he processes through no, and I process through yes. So the immediate answer, if you ask a question, for me is yes, right? And for him is like, nah, and then we process and think about it. So I didn't know that was a thing until I heard someone speak about it, actually. And it was so helpful for me to hear. So hopefully that's a nice little nugget for somebody else. But it doesn't mean that that's the absolute answer. It just means that that's a way of thinking kind of out loud, or that's the way of processing things. So anyways, we have kind of really learned and grown about ourselves and each other. So that's been super helpful. But really, honestly, I can tell you that my husband fits this criteria. So we have to be so intentional about what we are focused on. So when you are looking to attract the right one, the right partner, I want you to be intentional and think about, what does that mean? What does that actually look like? And I'm not talking about, they're 6'5", they've got brown hair, they dress nice. Like those are not the things I'm talking about. Things I'm talking about are, I need someone for me that's like, very affectionate, honest, respectful, always willing to put effort in. Like that's super, super huge to me. As you can see, if I'm a life coach, I'm talking about up-leveling all the time. Like I need someone who's gonna also be on board with that, because for me, growth is the thing, not the stagnation, right? So that's important to me in a partner, right? Patient, kind, right? Willing to do things without being asked. My man does the dishes, praise the Lord, because I hate doing that. Good finances, that was something that I was seeing another pattern in. Actually, another piece I want to talk to you about too is understanding these repeated patterns. So the guys that I dated, some of them had okay finances, some of them really, I think, could have maybe used some more organization, right? But like that is the thing that I wanted to kind of really correct in my life, just seeing patterns from family members or other people in my past, is like the finances were kind of up and down, they weren't as consistent. So that's something that I really wanted to make sure that I had in a partner, because as we work as a team, right, that's important to me. So just a few examples, but I want you to think about, number one, I want you to make your list, right? The things that you want in a partner. I want you to make a list of the things that you want in your relationship. So when you all are getting together, when you're having these conversations, you're making sure that you're both on the same page about what is this relationship going to look like. Is it going to be a team? Is it going to be that you're able to go to counseling or therapy if you have issues, right? Is it going to be that as a team, you want to have kids or you want to have dogs or whatever that is, right? What does that look like for you as a team? What are your thoughts and goals and wants there? And be able to feel confident in communicating that with that other person, because again, you guys have to be on board with that, right? So I want you to make your lists of that. And then another thing that I want you to do, and I heard this in another coaching, but it was like, one of my coaches said this, right? It's what patterns are we repeating from our past, right? From our previous relationships, whether that's our family, typically, right? It's the family we grew up in. But what patterns of relationships are we repeating those today? So being very aware of how you're interacting with other people. So I want you to think about that. And then I also want you to think about, if you're making these lists, right? You're kind of putting these expectations on a partner, on a team, right? Do you match up to those expectations? Is there work that maybe you want to do, or some tweaks that you want to make, so that you are coming to the table as somebody that, right, is like, that this person wants to date, right? So that was a cool thing that another coach had said was that, they made their list, but then they also looked at themselves and said, okay, this amazing person that I'm describing, this is the kind of person that they want to date. And so it's, then they did that self-work to say, okay, I'm going to take care of my finances. I'm going to, show up to things on time, or whatever it is, that you're trying to attract. So I just want you to, again, keep this information, try these different things. I want to hear how it goes. I want to hear, again, what your lists are and how you're self-reflecting on how you can also bring some amazing things to the table, and that you deserve, right? You deserve this amazing partner and this amazing relationship. And what is it? Is there anything that you'd like to do to help yourself in that? And I'm happy to help with anything as well. As far as coaching goes, I can help you get there if that's something that you do want to tweak. So many options are now available. I'm so excited to offer different price points, different flexibilities, different time frames too. I'm also offering a new thing. It's called Bust Out Your Brave, and so it's a 3-hour deep dive into one particular issue or just life challenge maybe that you're having and you'd like to be able to kind of get some more clarity around. And that's my thing, right? We want to be intentional and be clear on all the things that we're doing. So if you're interested in that, I'm going to go ahead and put the link. I'm so excited to hear more about what you all think. And I just want to let you know too, this Wednesday night at 5 o'clock in the Women Building a Bigger, Braver Life Facebook group, I'm going to be going live and taking any questions that you have for a life coach, so you can ask me anything. I'm happy to answer those, and if you have private questions, you can always message me. I hope you have a wonderful day. It was so great talking to you. Take care.